You don't need to be a perfectionist in this craft. Like, you just need to keep executing. You need to keep learning, and you need to really try to focus on being a better version of yourself today than you were yesterday. So tomorrow, you should be a better version of yourself, 1% better than you were today. Do something a little bit better, be a little bit more effective, be a little bit more confident, right? Be a little bit more productive. Pay attention to your calendar a little bit more. Something that you wouldn't have normally done, get a little bit more courage and do it. You feel what I'm saying? Doing that, and you do that over the next 365 years, and watch where you're at by this time in 2023. You know what I mean? So every day, I personally actively try to get better every day. That's why we do the monthly challenge. What you really need to do is, usually things that I want to work on, I keep it in front of me all day, every day, right? So I work from home, and I take a Post-it. I have a laptop, or I have a computer screen. I write out what I want to work on personally for my character. Boom. I also do that with my goals too, right? So focus on what that is for you. So whatever your character flaw is, whatever you feel like has been holding you back, is it procrastination? Is it confidence? Is it consistency? Whatever it is, this month I really wanted you to fix it and really work on it, right? Because that's going to be very important going into 2023, right? It's not just going to be you having the knowledge business-wise, but it's also going to be, are you actively becoming a better person? Because it's been so many years that I had, for years, I had the knowledge, like learning. And as I was learning, I had a false sense of security, thinking that I was getting ahead, but I wasn't necessarily getting ahead. I had more knowledge, but my results didn't align with the amount of knowledge I was learning. Right. And I'm like, man, I'm learning a lot, but why am I not impacting a lot? Why am I not getting results? Why am I not generating the revenue that's aligned with the things that I know? And there was people, and throughout the years, I've seen people that I knew for a fact was either saying wrong information, or I knew more than them, or maybe, maybe they got started after me, and then, they kind of maybe shot past me in my perception, right? And I'm like, man, what's going on? And I question myself, really trying to figure out, I feel like I know it, but I just keep feeling stuck. And what I didn't realize at the time was, it wasn't just the knowledge that I knew, it was the type of person I was becoming. It was the type of person I was. And I had enough knowledge, but my character didn't catch up to it. So that's when I really started leaning more into identity shifting, right? That's when I started leaning more into being that person. Who do I need to be? Who do I need to show up as? Who's the type of person that gets results like this? Oh, this is the type of person that's consistently showing up in training and coaching every day. Okay. The type of person that's consistently sticking to their calendar. The type of person that's writing things on their calendar and disciplining themselves to write on things on their calendar. The type of person that's not, sleeping till 12 in the afternoon and waking up early in the morning, 5 o'clock in the morning, 6 o'clock in the morning, working on my business before the rest of my home is up, right? Being the type of person that focuses on the big drivers of my business, that's going to allow us to continue to grow and scale, and not just kind of do things that feel comfortable. So now, one of the things that I actively work on, and what I'm actively even this month, is pushing myself to do things that are uncomfortable. That's my personal challenge for the month, right? So that's what I've been doing. Uncomfortable conversations, uncomfortable, even if it's just, I don't feel like waking up, or anything, right? And even in my personal life, right? So, and that's the great thing about when you're working on things, when you're working on your character, it's not just applicable to your business, right? This is something to truly make it ingrained in you. You got to do it in every scenario. When you're delivering a relevant question, that means that you're engaging with somebody. You're initiating the conversation in a way that's relevant, whatever that means. So when I'm training the team, I'm saying, okay, what's the scenario? It depends on what it is. The scenario may mean they just joined my Facebook group. So asking a relevant question, I might start off with saying something like, being grateful. I would say, hey, thanks, Joe, for joining my Facebook group. Thanks for joining my Facebook group. Now I ask questions. So for me, the question is, hey, I see that you requested to get some help with your coaching business. Would you mind if I ask you a few questions? That's how I started off. That's if somebody's entering my Facebook group. Let's say I went live. And now I'm like, okay, I've seen this person be very active in my live. Let me send them a DM. Hey, Joe, thank you. Saw you on a live. Thank you for engaging. Do you have any additional questions based on what you saw in the live? Something like that, right? Like you could but the whole purpose of it is it's relevant to what they just said. Let's just say they followed me back. I would say, hey, Joe, thanks for following back. Checked out some of your content. I noticed, I noticed that you're a coach. How's business going? You feel what I'm saying? Like it can be, so it's all about starting off with the question. I like to give a compliment at first and then a question, but it really just all depends. If it's a, let's see, we did the follow, maybe they engage with some of my photos or my videos. I might say, hey, Joe, thanks for liking my photos. I noticed in your last post, you said you were looking into being a coach. How's that coming along? Or do you have any questions about coaching? You feel what I'm saying? So don't make it rocket science. Just say, how did this person come into my world, or how are we connected? And then say, what would be a great question that's non-evasive, and that's the key, non-evasive. That's non-invasive that we can kick off the conversation with. Initiate emotion, but eliminate long responses. Initiate emotion, but eliminate long responses. And this is for my people that love to talk. My people that love to talk in the DM. This is also for my people that are like, but Coach T, you don't understand. I focus on trauma and healing, and I focus on all of this, emotional, burdensome stuff, and people want to explain the whole life story to me. And I get it. But you got to remember what the purpose of what we do is, of why we're connecting, right? Of why we're doing this. The purpose of this is to connect with them enough to see how you can help and to see if you can help. This is like pre-qualification. So you want to take them through this process, so when you get on a call, they'll have more time to be able to explain everything to you. You don't just want to have a big, long, drawn-out conversation with people. So in this I piece of it is initiate emotion, but eliminate long responses. So the emotion is give them something that shows that you're a real person. Give them some type of emotion. I like to say things like, wow, or that's amazing, or I feel you, or, like almost like an emotionally driven word. Or, that's tough, or, I hear what you're saying. You know what I mean? Like, or just something that sounds human, right? Something that sounds like, okay, like I'm talking to a real person. So initiate that, but refrain from giving long responses, and refrain from coaching people in the DM, right? Like you don't want to be coaching people in the DMs. You want to keep your responses succinct. You want to keep your responses short, but you want to give personality to it, but you still want to keep it short and succinct. Reply with 2 to 3 questions. So this goes back to what we just said. You don't want to have no long, drawn-out conversations, but you also want all of your responses to be question-based. You want your responses like, you don't want to, the easiest way to get into coach mode is somebody say they're going through a challenge or a trouble, and now you're explaining it. You could look at, probably up until this point, the thousands and thousands of DMs that we've sent, and you'll see that it'll be a direct response with some emotion in it, and then it'll be, well, and then I'll reply with 2 or 3 relevant questions. And you want to make the questions either championship oriented or change oriented. Actually, I'm gonna change that. Not change oriented, challenge oriented. You want to make it championship oriented, which is basically goal oriented, like what they want. Like, what are you looking to achieve in 2023? What are you looking to, what are your goals? What are you looking to accomplish? What would you like to see? What's your vision? What's your purpose? That's more goal oriented. Or you can say, so what's the challenge that you've been having? What's the biggest challenge you've been having, with your trauma? What's the biggest challenge you've been having in your business? What's the challenge you've been facing when, trying to get into this new career? What's the challenge you're having with your resume right now? You feel what I'm saying? Like, so you want to ask those type of questions, and that's going to be so relevant for the person that you're speaking to. Their mind is going to be blown. They're going to be like, wow, this person is in my world. So now you just entered their world. Now that you just entered their world, you just created a new connection with them. You just created a bond with them. And now they're like, yo, this person is locked in. This person is paying attention. That's why everything we do is relevant. In this space today, although this is a world of a lot of automation and AI, don't get it twisted. We like to do business with humans. We like to talk with humans. Explain how you can help. All right? Explain how you can help. So this is the part where once you ask your 2 questions and they respond, now you're in a place where you can transition the conversation. So how do you do that? And I could give this directly to you. You don't have to ask it just like this, but you want to ask something similar to this. I'll just put it in the chat just so you don't have to type it all out. Right? So you would say something like, so let's say Joe said, okay, well, what's the challenge you've been facing, right? So I might say, the biggest challenge I'm facing right now is, trying to run this marathon, let's say, right? So so I would say that, and then, so Joe may come back and would say, cool, well, I've been coaching people on high performance. You want to say your ideal client. This is why you want to know who your ideal client is. If not, you're going to have to use like people or something like that. But if you know who your ideal client is, you might say coaches, you might say career professionals, you might say, people with trauma, or people who are traumatized. If you can categorize the person or categorize the role of the type of people that you help, that's even better. But you would say, I've been mentoring people for years on high performance. So you might have to add that on here. Or I've been mentoring high performers for years and will be happy to help. Are you open to suggestions? Or you can say, are you open to ideas? Are you open to feedback? So again, you're gonna have to test it, but you could, but this will be a great, all I did right here is just explained how I can help and ask the question. That was it. So this is now we're at the point where this is like the transition. So you can put this as confirm a time and collect contact information. Right? So at this point, it's well, I do one-on-one coaching for women like yourself who want to find themselves again. Would you be interested in that? So they should say, yeah, I'll be interested in that. Yeah, that sounds cool. Thank you. So maybe they'll say something like that. And then that's when you'll say, great, what does your schedule look like tomorrow? Are you available tomorrow at 5 p.m.? What does your schedule look like this week? I like the faster the better. But it might just depend on what day of the week it is or whatever, right? If it's a weekend, if it's like a Thursday, I might say, what you doing tomorrow instead of next week? Because the sooner you can, if you have availability, like the more calls you can do in a shorter period of time, or the more appointments you can book in a shorter period of time, obviously the more revenue you'll make in a shorter period of time. Them to a trainer videos they can watch. So now you're at a point where you confirm the time, You went to your calendar scheduler, whether you're using Calendly, Acuity, or whatever you're using. And now once that's confirmed, then you'll say something like, all right, perfect. Got you confirmed. Here's a link of a training video. Here, take a look at this training video before our meeting, before our call. Take a look at this. This is why I want us creating assets. An asset is something that you can create that you created in the real world. A video is something you created in the real world. An ebook is something you created in the real world. It could be an ebook if you already have one, right? It don't necessarily have to be a training video, but something long form, not a 60-second Instagram video that you did. Like, it has to be long form. You need them like something. If you did a webinar, perfect. If you did a private coaching call where, potentially it wasn't somebody's personal information, or maybe it was a group call, even better. Or if it's a long form training video that you've done, great. If it's a speech that you've done, great. But something long form, I would say minimum at least 20 to 30 minutes. If you don't have something, that already tells you need to get busy, and you need to schedule something like this week, or within the next week. You need to schedule something, because you got to have long form. So if you're missing long form, that means you're probably not doing webinars. That means you're probably not going live, and that means that people aren't learning enough from you to even be interested in what you have. So you need to go out and